Hi everybody, welcome to Dulcimerica. My name is Futch. Thanks for joining me. I'm doing a little cleanup work and some string replacement on a couple of dulcimers from our veterinarian who we met because of Dulcimer. Isn't that kind of cool? I was playing at a gig and he was at the bar and heard me playing and was like, you know, I play Dulcimer. Soon I started giving him lessons and soon he became our pet doctor. So it's kind of cool. So he's got a Folkcraft and a Folk Roots Dulcimer here. This is the Folk Roots. This is a 29-inch VSL. Oh my gosh. And it's a black walnut, solid black walnut. This is a solid black walnut. This is the Folkcraft, and it's from 1993, so they were still being built up in Winston, Connecticut at this point. And this is a little bit of an older style. Got the scroll head on there. And this is a 27-inch VSL. So I'm going to go ahead and just casually do this thing and show you what I'm doing. When I take my strings off my dulcimers, I always like to give them a good cleaning. So the things you're going to want are some Howard feed wax. This is awesome stuff. A rag to wipe off the dulcimer and also to smear the stuff on and smear the stuff off. You'll also want to get a string winder, a pair of clips, snips, wire cutters, your strings, of course. And if you do a lot of string changing and you leave strings on for a long period of time and you forget what strings you put on there, I suggest getting a pair of, or a set of digital calipers. I got this from StuMac for about $58, and this will allow you to measure the string gauges that you have on your dulcimer so that you can put the same ones back on there. Alright, so let me go ahead and get started with the one on here. Now you'll notice, first of all, that these are a little unusual. Even though they're facing the right way, the bass string is closest to me, the double melody string is farthest away. Can you tell me why that is? Well, if you guessed that our dear doctor is left-handed, then you are correct. He is a southpaw, and so we had the dulcimer restrung so that he could play better, and it actually made a big difference. So you lefties out there who are conforming and playing with the headstock going this way, you'd probably be a lot happier if you swung it that way and just reversed your strings and flipped the nut and the bridge around. Now that's not always the case, not always just as easy as flipping your nut and bridge around, so consult your builder if available, because there are certain things that they will do with the nut and bridge. And if you just flip them around, you might make your instrument go badly out of tune, and we don't want that. Alright, so with the string winder, I'm going to come down here and loosen these strings up. Get the slack going and get these puppies off of there. Now some people will get in there and snip them, but especially with the scroll head like this, I could snip them, but then I'd be trying to reach down into this little canyon trying to pull that stuff out of there. So I'm just going to unspool them cleanly and evenly. Okay dokie, the strings are all off of there. So we'll kind of do a visual check and look at the frets. The frets are in pretty good shape. Not that I was prepared to do anything with them today anyway, but they are in good shape. Nut and bridge are in good shape. This one's a little loose, but that's okay. I can leave that in there. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to shake up this bottle of Howard Feed and Wax and apply it on here. It's got orange oil in it. This is a great conditioner for your instrument. And whenever I take the strings off, I like to go ahead and get my instruments all conditioned up. This keeps the wood supple, keeps it from drying out. Puts a nice shine on the wood. This is especially good if you live in a dry habitat, or if you have to have a humidifier in your instrument case because it's so dry. This will help keep the wood from drying out. What you want to do is you just want to wipe it on there. I put on the rag directly, kind of mush it around, and then get it nice and wet all over the instrument. Anywhere there's wood, go ahead and get it good. Now don't worry if it's kind of messy and you've got a whole bunch of it all over the place, because we're going to buff it off, we're going to get rid of it later on. But for right now, let that extra residue just kind of lay on top of the instrument. And we'll get back to it in a little bit. I'm going to take the strings off of this one and do the same thing. I don't know why that's there, but it's there, and I'm not going to mess with it because there might be a reason for it. It says leader furniture, if you can't see that. I'm wondering if maybe that's where he bought it from. Yes, nice, juicy. Oops, I saw a nut and a bridge go flying. There you go. All right, now we sit and we wait. You typically want to leave this mixture on there for about 20 minutes. So after that, we'll come back and we'll buff it off. All right, it's been about 20 minutes. Let's go ahead and take a look at this first dulcimer, the Folkcraft. So you'll see a lot of that has soaked into the wood, and that's exactly what you want. And it's okay if there's still pooled on the top, because we're just going to go ahead and wipe off any residual that might be there. Look at that shine. Man, it really brings out the beauty of the wood. It really does. And it smells so good. So you can see there that it still has a lovely shine to it, but we've just wiped off all of the extra wax and oil. And that's how it should look afterwards. Just really amazing. And of course, it smells amazing as well. Let's do the same thing here while we're at it. There we are. Look at that. Just beautiful, beautiful. This can really keep your instruments looking like new. This is great for any wood. So you can use it for your dulcimers, banjos, ukuleles, Native American flutes, guitars. These stands need it very badly. I'll do those afterwards. Okay. Now that we have gotten the instruments with the old strings off and a nice conditioning on there, it's time to put some new strings on. So let's go ahead and do that. These are baritone dulcimers. So I am putting 12s on the melody string. And then I'm doing 18s on the middle string. The doctor likes a little bit thinner of a middle string on there, so that's what's going to go on there. Typically you'd put a 22 for a baritone, but you know, you play and you put the strings on there to taste whatever is going to feel the best for you. And I'm putting 34s on the bass string, which is a little light, but it's actually a little heavier than what was on here originally. 30s were on here, so I'm putting, actually 32s were on here, so I'm putting 34s on, just to kind of keep everything balanced across the strings as much as possible. Alright, so we have 2 dulcimers tuned up, fresh new strings, nicely conditioned. Only one thing remains though. We've cut all of these crazy wires all over the place, and this is where these snips come in handy. Just get in nice and close and remove yourself of that. Now, let's say you do not have a pair of snips and you still want to not lose any blood by getting poked by one of these dealios. So grab yourself a really thick pick, or maybe even a coin, something like that. And this is one of the coolest tricks ever. You're simply going to take the edge of the coin or the pick and pin the string in between your thumb and that object. Put pressure of the edge against the string as you pull it along the length of the string, and it will create a little pigtail, and that will keep these curled in and away from your precious eyeballs or whatever else. You can make them even more curlied if you apply more pressure, like this. Boing. Pigtails. Very, very fun. So there it is, just a little informal cleaning and switching out of strings, and I thought I'd share it with all y'all out there. You should do it at least once a year, not just change your strings, but also to do a little conditioning on your instrument to keep the wood nice and supple and ready to keep you entertained and amused for the rest of its lifetime and your lifetime as well. Thanks everybody, we'll see you next week with more Dulcimerica.